Hello, my name is Holly Fortune, and today we're talking about KRONK'S new groove. Yep, today we're talking about the sequel to An Emperor's New Groove. It would be wrong if I didn't acknowledge my dog. She's now sitting right here the second time that I try to film this specific video, the sixth time that I try to film any video at all. Hit subscribe to see whatever the heck I post next. I honestly have no idea, so it'll be a wild surprise for the both of us. Leave me a comment if you do remember this movie. It doesn't seem like people are really talking about it. If anything, they might be bashing it a little bit. KRONK'S New Groove was released in 2005. It was the last movie to have the voice of Piglet, or John Fielder, but he did pass away 6 months before the film officially released. I'm hyped that we get to focus on KRONK this time. He was the standout in the first film, and of course he's gonna get a sequel for being cute. I'm into it.
Kill KUZCO.
Unfortunately, we do still have KUZCO, voiced by David Spade, who I don't love at all. So before I watched this film, I had to ask myself, why? Why talk about it? Why take notes on it for an hour and a half? Why watch it again? And the reason is simple. This movie haunts my dreams. There's one scene in particular that's just bizarre. I don't know why it doesn't get brought up more. But yeah, my impression was this movie has some good songs, probably at least one that I know of. And it really does come to mind more often than not. I'm talking about like every other month I think about this movie, I think about that scene. I don't know what's wrong with me. I gotta pause and acknowledge that Patrick Warburton is the voice of KRONK. Warburton also voices Lemony Snicket from A Series of Unfortunate Events. Love that. That's the most recent one that comes to mind. And I bet you didn't realize that he's in an episode of Quantum Leap. I didn't either because I don't remember anything about that show, but I think we should be talking about it and rewatching it and seeing if it's worth our time. The narration begins with a quick review of what happened in the last movie, and thank God, because I honestly don't remember anything. It starts with a fondue explosion, and then you have KRONK running around town with a hip musical number. It's a good song. I don't want to compare it to Gospel Truth by Hercules, but if you needed something to compare it to, that would be okay. I really, really do hate KUZCO, and he cuts right in here to remind you that this is not his film.
So, right about now, you're probably wondering, hey, where's that Emperor guy? Wella, boom, baby! This one's his movie, not my movie. His movie, not mine. His and mine. Mine. You got it?
I'm still pissed about it. Then I asked myself, why did they even give him his own spin-off show? Because if you didn't remember that, KUZCO got a full-blown Disney spin-off TV show. Pretty ridiculous. But it did not perform well at all. It grossed $169 million, whereas the production cost about $100 million. So not the sort of profit margins that you're looking for, but I'm pretty sure anything during that time, Disney would just pick whatever things seemed like it would be okay for a spin-off TV series, right? Back to KRONK. He's really happy at his restaurant that he appears to be running and the head chef at. Before you know it, he gets this thing called a lomogram from his father. And we dive into what should be the main plot of the film. The movie gets broken down into these three pieces. You get flashback 1, flashback 2, then back to the present day that you started with to meet KRONK's father. Before we dive into flashback 1, the story, we get a tiny flashback of baby KRONK, and he's just too cute not to put in here. So we basically hate his father for being a hater toward KRONK because he's a natural chef and he's a cute baby boy, and we don't need that kind of energy. Get out of here, Poppy. All right, into flashback 1. The first notable thing I have here is that, oh my God, we get the voice of Piglet. Piglet is Rudy. He's in a cute little blue frock. You can't miss him.
Hello,
Hiya, KRONK.
Rudy, give me some steak. What's shaking, big fella?
What isn't?
Brought your favorite. Puree of mystery meat.
Ooh.
For KRONK to impress his father, he needs a few things: wife, children, house on a hill, and he'll finally have his dad being proud of him. In flashback 1, KRONK is working up the money to get his dream home, and he's going around town shelling out food, giving elderly people minced meat and prune juice. They seem to be loving it, and Yzma is spying on him the whole time and sees, oh my God, he has so much influence over these old people, so I'm gonna have to use him to make money and fame back myself. She swiftly lures KRONK away with a trick coin into her shabby cave that she's been hiding out in since the first movie ended. She is no longer a cat. She still has a tail, which begs the question, do people have a fetish for this? Are there photos of this half cat, half Yzma person online that have been fetishized? And there are not, which leads me to believe this film truly isn't popular at all, because there is something for everything out there that I have seen, at least. Not even trying. Random on, am I right? Yzma gets another pull the lever joke, which I think was a running gag in the TV show. I'm totally over the lever gag at this point, but they do end up in, and it's the Small World equivalent, but it's all grim and cute, and that's the ride that I want to go on. I love that ride so much.
This lever.
I worked out the bugs.
Just checking. Huh?
Wait for it.
Yzma's whole point here is that she's created an elixir of youth. It's really a bung potion, and she tricks Kronk into serving it to all of the old people for money, and they become addicted to it because I'm almost led to believe the society doesn't have that many mirrors, because by the end of it, Kronk just shows the old guy what he looks like, and he's like, oh, I really am still. So it's basically a placebo, and I don't know, they're looking down at their body and they're like, I still have hair, I still have bunions. It's like, yeah, of course you do. It didn't work. It's a stretch. It really is. Yzma does get a song of her own, and while at first I noted that it was a bop, it did not continue to be a bop. Not a fan of it.
He wants to come on up to your house, have some supper. What will you serve it on, Kronk? Plastic tupper.
I'm also frustrated that Kronk is so easily swayed. I know that he has the good angel and bad angel characters following him around to lead him through situations, either or. But you would have thought after the events of the last film and him learning to have a simpler life that it would have taken a bit more for Yzma to convince him to do something like this. Like, I feel like he should have vetted her a little bit more. This is almost like a little MLM. Kronk, what are you doing? Why are you shelling out Tupperware? I don't get it. It just gives me those vibes. He did not vet his sources, and I thought he was better than that. A little disappointed in Kronk at that point. The elderly people are so obsessed that they end up selling their home to Kronk. Kronk swiftly throws a giant house on it, and that's his home. He's got his dream home, and all the elderly people are homeless, and they're actually just as old as they were to start, so we've just duped a bunch of old people, and that's it. I realized in the scene where Kronk is writing or dictating a letter to his father, this movie heavily relies on the concept of real estate, and so does the first film. Because that's what KUZCO wanted too. He had the whole plan of destroying Pacha's village to either replace it with a bigger palace or a theme park, or a combination of those two things. Pretty sure it was a theme park. This is a weird storytelling device. Like, I tried to sit down and think, well, I know we have movies fighting over land, but do we have movies where we got to put houses on top of houses? I don't know. Is it the same thing? It seems like a particular thing that they duped for this movie after they just told me the concept of the first movie so much. Weird. Well, those homeless elderly folks are still homeless, so Rudy, he goes to Kronk's own little home palace, house on the hill, and he's going crazy. He needs more potion, but they run out of money, and he's completely nude. He sold his cute little blue frock. It's pretty ridiculous. And then what takes it over the top for me, which makes me felt a little visceral in response to this, is Kronk hands him a potion, and he does a My Precious impression.
How about if I spot you, Bob?
My precious! Francis wants to keep it. We must not let him. No.
Something's just not right here.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't need Piglet to cross over with the Lord of the Rings. That's not what I needed. Shortly after this, there is an eye doctor joke that hits home for me. It's the optometrist machine that they do the 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2. And I was just talking to my significant other about this and how it tickles your eyelashes. So it actually made me chuckle out loud hearing this one.
Okay. Take a look at your pal, Rudy. This is before. This is after. Before. After. You see any difference?
Can I see before again?
I'm about this joke. Yeah, and like I mentioned, Kronk shows the old person, Rudy, that he is in fact still old, and that's it. They run back and tell all the other older people, you're still old, look at your bunions, look at the hairs on your feet. Nothing happened, absolutely nothing changed. And instead of voting Yzma in as emperor, which I guess they make a joke about how that's impossible because you don't vote in an emperor, and also it all happens so quickly and it's not really feasible. Nothing is feasible. I don't believe in anything. What is God? But that's not going to happen anymore. The big takeaway of this section is we're only as old as we feel. And it's passable. But let's be for real. This isn't the part of the movie that I remembered at all. We're about to enter flashback 2, which is the section that I do have a deep recollection of. So let's get into flashback 2. Kronk's love is a British babe named Birdwell. They immediately get into this big competition to see who has the better troop of Squirrel Scouts or Chipmunk Scouts. It's just a thing. After getting into it back and forth, and exhausting their Chinese or troop members into this gamifying system and not actually having fun, which is the whole goal of their camp, the children fall asleep totally sad and upset about everything because they've gone through so many competitions. And both Kronk and Birdwell end up in the kitchen. Kronk doesn't have enough eggs, so he goes over and he tries to get Birdwell's eggs so he can finish making his recipe. This is where I learned that they're making raisin bread. Didn't remember that detail, but I know the scene that I do recollect is about to happen. We cut into a way too sexy song for this film. Whew. Just take a minute.
I like it when you laugh. I've got a proposition. My eggs, your raisins. We could bake beautiful bread together.
Get out your oven mitts. Things are about to get hot.
The song is Let's Groove. We all know Earth, Wind & Fire has these groovy bops that are packed with sexual heat and tension, so it's not a surprise. But man, there's just this moment where they're rolling the bread together, and something about the way that they're dancing with their legs. I just don't like the way legs move in this film. I have a problem with it. So it walks a line of creepy and sexy and funny that is just bizarre. And yeah, this is it. This is the scene. After the song, they're up on this hill together, totally into one another, looking into each other's eyes with the moon behind them. And Birdwell has been wearing a camper hat this whole time. She takes it off slow-mo, and it's supposed to be a gorgeous moment where her hair is flowing, but instead it stays in its little bun, and it is a funny moment of turning a trope on its head.
It's like a whole new you.
Really?
Following this, Kronk gives a super comedic fall, which we're used to seeing, but it's so long, it's a little unsettling, and it makes me have a real moment where I'm like, okay, what if he actually died?
Frankie Pooh?
I'm okay. I'm fine.
And if you thought you were done with him, you would be wrong. It's time for KUZCO's interruption once again.
Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
After KUZCO interrupts, this time I'm about ready to watch Joe Dirt 5 times over, to never see him play this character again. I just don't want this man in my life anymore.
I just get stupider.
I don't know if it was worth it, you guys, to see him. I just don't like him. Hashtag cancel KUZCO? Is it too late? When the day comes and KUZCO is gone, I don't even remember what he said. The final competition is a cheer-off. When Tipo puts itching powder in the grip powder and Birdwell falls over, Kronk is not there to catch her. Birdwell is reprimanding Tipo because he left his bag of itching powder, so it's like labeled Tipo. And Kronk realizes that he can't let the kid take the fall because he's the one that pressured the kid in the first place. It's a weak argument, but Kronk walks up and lets Birdwell know that, yeah, you can't blame the kid. And that ruins their relationship. Was it really worth it, Kronk? Flash forward to present day, and we have Kronk's dad arriving. I gotta say that Poppy gives me Cotton Hill from King of the Hill vibes.
You ain't too big for me to give you a licking.
Perhaps it's because he's very short and terse, but that's immediately what I thought of, and yeah, can't get that thought out of my mind. Kronk asks Poncho for his wife and children and house on the hill so that he can convince Poppy that he has everything that he promised him. We know that he doesn't have any of those things, and he's just gonna try and lie. And now I've decided that the point of the whole film is that you aren't your wealth or your property, you are the value of your memories and your connections with other people.
Oh, bother.
That moral applies to Disney's content pretty easily. And it's a sequel, so, you know, I'm the only one here that's really giving it a hard time and also admiring it for its ingenuity, I guess. But when Poppy finally gives Kronk this thumbs up, which is the symbol, the thing that he's been after this whole movie is to get Poppy's approval, aka his thumbs up, we do get a snippet of what I'm almost for certain is Lion King, King of Pride Rock.
Wow, never thought I'd live to see this. You, of all people, with a wife, kids, and a house on a hill. Son, I don't know what to say.
That, as a diehard Lion King fan, I was like, oh my god, I want this to happen. And it doesn't come to fruition, which makes it even better, as you've had a snippet of the song. And then, of course, like, that works for, I think sequels only work for people who've seen the original movie and actually like Disney. So, again, they hit the nail on the head there. I think they got me. That moment where he almost gets a thumbs up is before the fondue exploding, and then after the fact, when everyone around him is doing the thing, they're like, oh, but Kronk, we all love you, and you don't need all these things to have a fulfilled life. You've already fulfilled all of us. That's when he gets the actual full thumbs up from Poppy, and you do get a booming orchestral track, which I do believe is original to this film, and that I appreciated.
You see, Poppy, you may look at my life and think I've got nothing. But the truth is, I've got everything.
Not yet, you don't. I'm proud of you, son. Come here, you little squirt.
I wanted the thumbs up by this point. The fact that I'm actually rooting for Kronk when I was hating on KUZCO the whole time still means to me he's a really fun, lovable character, and I love his voice actor, and I love that he's friends with piglets. It works for me. It's just bad enough that I kind of love it. I think I'm gonna have to watch this film again. Oh, and I guess I actually hate this animation style because they're doing all the dances like they did in the Sexy song, and I'm just not a fan of what's happening. Everyone's got these stinted, look at that. And just, yeah, it feels very David Burns to me, and that's bad. So let's wrap it up. Why do I remember this film? After going through it again, I gotta say it must be the Piglet voice actor, because I love Winnie the Pooh so much, and I would love to talk about some of those films, like the really sad one. And yeah, there's no denying that the baking song has a killer track behind it. Like, do not even try to deny it. It's Earth, Wind, and Fire. Obviously, it's super memorable. And finally, I think it's just because I like all sequels. Yeah, if they're Disney sequels. One of my favorite films is The Lion King 2. I can't get enough of it. I watch it multiple times a year. And I'll take out those pieces of the sequel that are so bad. It sounds like I just only remember this one baking scene. So that's what I've done with other sequels. But there's something so sweet to me about taking a film that was big hit and then trying to replicate it again to like no success whatsoever. The reception for this film isn't very good at all. The movie has a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm probably gonna have to go in there later and write a review of my own. Also, there's another video out there made by a creator that I like, 24 frames of Disney or Nick, and he calls it Disney's most forgettable sequel, which I haven't disproved, but I knew that would be a good video, and I waited to watch it until after I filmed this because I didn't want to have any of the other opinions manipulating my brain. I'm gonna go watch that right now, and I think you should probably do the same thing. Compare and contrast. Well, that's all I have today. Until next time, Upendi.
I like it when you laugh.